Have you been watching those videos about celebrities answering the web's most asked questions? Well, we're gonna do that today, but LOTRO style. But before we can do that, make sure you hit the subscribe button down below. It really helps with the channel's visibility. Now let's go see what everyone has to ask about Lord of the Rings Online. Is LOTRO still active? Yes, definitely still active. Is LOTRO worth playing 2023? Yes, and I actually have a video about why you should be playing LOTRO in 2023. I'll have it linked down below for you guys. Is LOTRO free? Yes, LOTRO has always been free to play. However, people always want to bring up this hard paywall that you hit at around like level 95 or 100-ish right now is where the paywall is, where you need the expansions in order to progress your character like in a quickly manner. I mean, I guess you could kind of get to like level 140 without the expansions, but you're gonna miss all the good content. So people really bring that up a lot, but I'm gonna be totally honest, it is a lot of time to get to level 100. Take it from me, I got one character at level 100 back when that was the level cap, and I only have that one character still, and I've been playing for several years after on and off. So I just want to put it out there, it's not easy to get to that level. And also there are plenty of ways that you can actually completely play LOTRO for free without spending a dime out of your wallet. Trust me, I've been there. I never paid for a subscription for several years of me playing the game, and I've always found ways to get around it. You just have to essentially grind your characters and save all of your LOTRO points, and people don't want to do that. LOTRO is totally free. It's like completely free. It's like the craziest game because you can get around everything for free. You could do it all for free. You just gotta grind a little harder. So I just want to make that perfectly clear. Is LOTRO dead? LOTRO isn't dead. I mean, sure. No one really wants to play a game that's graphics look as old as it does. No offense, LOTRO. However, that does not mean it's dead. There's so many people playing the game. Trust me, there's so many communities. I have built this YouTube channel just from Lord of the Rings Online players. That's really all I focus on. And look at how many subscribers we got. Like, come on, you can't be telling me LOTRO's dead. There's a good amount of people who are still playing the game. So many community events, I swear. It is not dead, as most people like to think. LOTRO is definitely still alive and kicking and will be, but who knows when Amazon Games comes out with their MMO. Is LOTRO pay to win? I wouldn't say so, and I have honestly only put maybe like $100 to $200 into the game personally, just for a couple 3-month subscriptions, and I honestly haven't found that it's really like helped me too much. Is LOTRO good? That's honestly up for you to decide. I can't tell you if it's good or not. I'm just gonna tell you I adore this game. I played it on and off for at least 12 years. It's definitely a game that isn't for everyone. I could admit that. It's more of like an older school type of MMO, which some people don't like. The graphics are older. I know people don't like that, but if you can look past all of that stuff, I thoroughly enjoy the classes a lot. Is LOTRO canon? This is a hard one for me to answer because I still have not read the books, and I will get to the audiobooks, I swear. I'm working on it, trust me. But from what I've played, I mainly just compare it to the movies. The game actually does go pretty neck and neck with the movies, like with some of the lines and stuff. Now granted, they do have to flub a little things because it just makes the gameplay more interactive. Like, you get a couple more choices in comparison to how you want to navigate certain situations or obstacles. And I'm sure the books don't necessarily give you a choice. It's just, oh hey, this is how it went. A lot of people in the comments have told me otherwise, and I hear you guys that LOTRO is actually not really neck and neck with the lore. And you know, you're probably right. There's probably a couple things that I'm just totally oblivious to, but honestly, I would say just based on what I've seen in the movies and how the stories interact, I feel like I've gotten a little more information, and just especially speaking to all of you, it seems like I've gotten some clarity based on what LOTRO put into play in the game anyway. So I would say that the game is like, I don't like the word canon though. I would say that the game is relatively close to some of the lore. I wouldn't necessarily call it like canon though. I mean, I don't really know how I feel about saying canon in the LOTRO, Lord of the Rings trilogy in general, but I would say it's relatively close to the lore. Does LOTRO work on Mac? So LOTRO actually does work for Macs, but it's very particular. I honestly would not recommend you play LOTRO on a Mac. I know very few people that do, and I've honestly tried to put it on my own Macs and I've never been successful with it because it seems to have like pretty specific requirements. But it is accessible on the Mac. Just really double check it. I warned you. Does LOTRO have controller support? I don't know what's in developments going in the future, but for right now, I would say I do not believe that LOTRO really has any controller support to it. Kind of sucks, but what can you do? There's just so many different buttons to mash and too many skills that they have that I just don't think they can really do that effectively right now. Does LOTRO have PvP? Basically, we actually have this thing called MP versus P, which means monster player versus player, and that's essentially like your PvP. You have one side that plays as the regular LOTRO characters, they're called Freeps, and then you have the other side that logs in as monsters and they're called Creeps, and then you can go in the side of the Edenmores and you can duel other players. Monster players obviously work for like the armies of Sauron and all of that, and then the free people are, you know, with Gandalf and Galadriel, Elrond, all the good people in Middle-earth trying to shed their hope and light into Edenmores. It's pretty simple. I actually have a video about the monster play tutorial that I can link down below for you guys, but I honestly don't really do too much of it. It's a little repetitive for the most part, and it's something that could definitely get more upgraded in the future with Standing Stone, so I hope that that does happen at some point, that we get more like PvP options. We also do have sparring, which isn't really the same. I guess it's kind of PvP, but you can spar other players, but nothing really happens. I mean, you just see who's more powerful, and then whoever wins gets, you know, they don't get knocked out, but the people that lose get knocked out, and then their health just regenerates after like 10 seconds. So it's pretty boring, but you get it. Does LOTRO VIP include expansions? That's a great question, and yes they do. That's what makes VIP nice, is that you can actually get those expansions. Though I will note that once you are no longer VIP and you drop to a preferred player, is what they're called, which is essentially someone who's had a VIP at some point in time, you actually don't have access to those expansions. You have to purchase them in the LOTRO store. So if you do have a VIP membership, then definitely plan to keep it for a long while for any expansions that you currently are kind of working on in the game. Does LOTRO have dungeons? Yes, LOTRO does basically have dungeons. It's something that I'm not really well versed in, so I can't really explain too much into it. Whether they're good or bad, I'm not sure. But we do basically have our own dungeons or raids. Does LOTRO delete old accounts? So LOTRO doesn't really delete your old account, but I know why this question probably has popped up. It's because what happened to certain people who have been away from the game, there were actually some servers that got taken down over time that were a part of LOTRO. So if you did have characters on those servers, unfortunately you kind of just lost everything, because there was like a good year where there was a transfer period, maybe even a year or two. And if you did not transfer your characters over to an active server that's currently up and running right now, then you unfortunately probably lost everything. Doesn't mean that your account's gone, it just means that your characters on those servers are probably no longer in existence, and it's been so long that I don't think you can get to recover any of that. Though if you do have an account, they don't really delete your account, though it might be hard for you to get back in if you don't really have any of your information. And I would actually recommend that you go to the help and submit a ticket for this, because a lot of people have run into this where they want to get back into the game, they have an old account, but they don't know any of the login information. And there are steps that Standing Stone games can kind of like work with you to recover, and they'll actually ask you like a lot of questions, like about your character's levels, where their last location was, and all of that, just to double check that you are who you say you are. But sometimes if it's too long, then yeah, unfortunately your account might not be recoverable. Does LOTRO have a good story? I would say so. I haven't really played any of the end game content because, like I said, my highest level is like only 108 right now, so I am very far behind on the end game content. But so far I've actually been playing like a lot of like the Rohan story right now, and I've thoroughly enjoyed it. It's a little depressing sometimes, and I do like that about games. Like, you actually lose a good amount of people on your adventures here. You really retreat from every freaking battle imaginable. There's some crazy battles. It's intense. I really like the story. I do definitely feel like super immersed into it whenever I do play it, so I really enjoyed the story. Does LOTRO get better? Huh? Does LOTRO work with Windows 10? Yeah, it definitely works with Windows 10. I've actually was playing LOTRO on a Windows 7 for the longest of times. Now, I don't know if they've really upped up the requirements, but I'm pretty sure that you need a minimum of Windows 7 still. So I believe so, but double check at LOTRO.com when you go to download the game. I'm sure they'll give you all the requirements there. Does LOTRO work on a MacBook Air? I don't know. I feel like I had a MacBook Pro at one time and that couldn't even run LOTRO, so double check it. Like I said, at LOTRO.com when you go to download it. LOTRO, what to do with old legendary items. So LOTRO actually changed the legendary item system, I want to say like a year and a half ago now, and some of those old items you can actually go over to a certain area in Rivendell. You can actually go over there and you should have a way to essentially like melt down and just completely dissolve your old legendary items, and then that should give you points and currencies that can allow you to use the new legendary items to get that sorted out. And then there's also like this flame or crystal that you need to buy from a barter. I typically go to Breetown where this barter is, but they actually have this flame, or you can actually like melt down or disintegrate like any old legendary item features or perks or like any of the runes. You could actually take those and then change those into the new currency for the new legendary items. So it's a little bit of a hassle, trust me. I still gotta do this on like half of my characters on my main account. I will say it is a little more simple now, the new legendary item system, because I don't always have to go and reforge my weapons all the freaking time. Now it's like I have my one weapon and I have it for several levels. And yeah, there's ways that I can upgrade it and such, but it's pretty simple now, which I do like a lot. LOTRO, what server to play on? I have a video that I'm going to link right down below as well, where I actually cover which servers you should join. LOTRO, what class to play? This really depends on your own playstyle. If you're someone like me who likes all the mage, healing, sages and stuff, I would say Minstrel or Runekeeper are your two best bets. If you're someone who wants more tanking abilities, then definitely do a Guardian. If you want to do ranged abilities, do a Hunter. If you want some stealth, do Burglar. I mean, there's all sorts of reasons why you could play any of the classes, but if you do want my honest opinion on the classes, I have several videos that you can go back and watch where I rank the classes. I tell you which ones are easiest to learn, which ones are best for soloing, which ones I definitely am not fans of. Warden, I'm looking at you. It definitely is just based on what your playstyle is, what's best for you, and you definitely don't need to go by my word like 100%. LOTRO, what to do with essences? This is like so funny to me because I just on my last stream talked about this with chat. Essences are kind of like a little like boost in your armor that you can apply. That's sort of how I think about it, but you can actually get these, I think starting at around level 50, but you're actually not going to get any sort of armor that can actually use essences and apply essences to it at like around level 100. I actually just asked my chat, I was like, so I'm like a level 70, do I hold these or what? And everyone was like, just sell them, free money, because you can't really find much armor that allows you to equip those or slot those in. So the best advice I was given to you guys from you guys is to basically just sell them until you hit level 100, and then you should start getting armor where you can actually slot them in and then slot them into your armor, get the boosts. Yeah. LOTRO, what to buy? This is actually difficult because the first thing I would recommend any player to get is a mount on your character, because you will need it. There are ways to get your mount, but get a mount right off the bat for all of your characters if you can. as quickly as possible. It's really going to help you travel around faster, save you time. The next thing I would recommend is to buy inventory slots. I believe that you could get 5 for about like 395 LOTRO points or so, but I'm telling you, I think you only get like 45 slots worth when you first have your account. And that is not enough. I'm not gonna lie, inventory space is something that's gonna fill up fast. It's definitely going to be helpful to you. And I'm pretty sure it's account wide now too. So definitely buying some inventory space. It's a very good investment. And then for the third one, I would just say buy all sorts of expansions and quest packs that you can get, because it will help you tremendously in the future. You're not gonna have to worry about once you hit around level 90 or so and be like, oh my gosh, I can't move on and progress in the story because I don't have the expansion. Just save and grind those points from doing deeds, and you will have that expansion in no time. How to fish. Off the top of my head, I really don't remember how you get started fishing. I just know that there's a hobby master in Hobbiton that you can go speak with, and I'm not sure how to begin like the hobby quests to start fishing, but definitely LOTRO Wiki it. I'm sure they have all the info you need for that. How to get a mount. I kind of covered this already, so you actually need to get the riding skill first, which is 95 LOTRO points for the riding apprentice skill, and then there's actually like this beginner tutorial that every account gets one of, where you actually get this quest when you are nearing the end of your tutorial phase in LOTRO, and that quest will actually reward you 10 LOTRO points, and then you have to go into the LOTRO store to buy like the scroll, and then from there it's 10 points, you get a riding skill and you get a starter mount with it, but you can only do that quest, you only get like those 10 LOTRO points one time per account. So, you know, if you make another character, you're not gonna have access to that quest. How to move UI. That's easy, just do Control /. How long to max level? Oh gosh, if I had to give a wild guess, I would say it's at least like 3 weeks of your playtime, like actually recorded in game. Let me put this into perspective for you guys. So I actually have a level 77 Runekeeper. My playtime that the game has recorded that I've logged into that character is over 1 week's worth. That's a long time to be playing. Like that's several hours that I've played into this character. And I'm not gonna lie, I've played this character on and off once a week for the past 2 years. And I'm just now getting halfway to the max level, that the current max level, because it's probably going to increase by the winter. So I'm very far from the max level. It's taken me a long time to just get to half of that. How to get legendary weapon. So I'm not entirely sure now with the new legendary item systems, but I will say that the way that it went previously, and I'm sure they haven't really changed this much, is that you actually had to progress doing the story quest before you get into Moria. You have to get your legendary item, and you have to kind of progress with story quests in Eregion. Then once you're kind of going through the chapter quests and all of that, the epics, then there should be a time period where they would then tell you to go out, go get your legendary item, level it up maybe even to a certain level, and then from there you could get access into Moria. So I'm just assuming that you're gonna get it by completing the epics. Is crafting worth it? So crafting is definitely worth it in my opinion. I haven't really crafted anything that's really like helped boost my character much. The only things that have really helped is that like lore masters, you can get exclusive pets as a tinker. If you have a tinker that can actually like craft pets for you, and that's actually a little nicer to have a couple more cosmetic choices to your companions that you can get. And then also like you can have like your jewelers, your weaponsmith, your armorer, so they can kind of help you in the basics, like when you're still trying to get more armor and level up when you're essentially like a newer player, when you're very low level. Though it does really help for selling certain things over into the auction hall and making really good coin. Trust me, that's like the only way that you're really gonna get coin quickly. I mean, doing quests will get you some coins here or there, like a couple silver, but you know, a couple silver after doing like 4 quests is like the total of how much is going to cost you to use a stable master at like level 50. So crafting actually has helped me a lot with getting more value in my wallet. Just for that reason, I would say crafting is definitely worth it, so you can make more gold faster. Is Brawler good? I think Brawler is good. I actually really like how the class has come to be. I joked so much with my father about how ridiculous the class concept seemed, but I actually thoroughly enjoy playing the class. I actually really like the concept now. I think seeing it was a lot different than what I had pictured in my head. I like the class. I mean, they've got like good defense, which is good, kind of like tanks with your guardians and such, but DPS wise, I mean, they're just all right. I mean, they could be better in some regards. They do need a little bit of a rework, I'm not gonna lie to you, but I thoroughly enjoy playing with them. I like their animations a lot too. Is VIP worth it? I mean, VIP is nice because you don't have to save for the expansions. You automatically have them while you are a VIP. You have the quest packs available to you. You essentially get XP a lot faster, and you do have services available to you that some people have to go back into town to access, while you can kind of access it wherever you're at. And you do have more vault space. So I mean, it's a lot of great perks. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, a lot of great perks. I've gotten through without playing VIP for several years, so I mean, it's kind of up to you. If you're someone who wants to kind of take a little less grind out of LOTRO, because LOTRO is very grindy, then totally up to you to be a VIP. It's probably going to help you speed up a little faster with certain things, so it might be worth it to you in that regard. But I honestly don't feel like VIP is so worth it. I haven't really spent any sort of money on a VIP subscription in about 4 years now, I believe, so not really worth it for me. But it just depends on who you are as a player and if you want to access stuff quicker. LOTRO, is it worth playing? Yes! Do I even have to say anything else? LOTRO, is Warden hard? Warden is definitely the most advanced class. That can make them hard. I think they're definitely probably the most difficult class, but I wouldn't want to even say they're really hard. It just takes a lot of memorization, a lot more time to kind of adapt to them, because they are like the most unique class. But it's not like so difficult where it's like if you were completely new playing a Warden, like you would be completely lost in whatever you were doing. It's not like that. You would be able to survive, you'd be fine, but you'd probably just be confused on what the point of the class is and like how you're getting any sort of like beneficial perks from it. But I don't want to say it's hard. Is Beorning good? Guys, I love the Beorning so much. You all have no idea. They're like one of my top classes now ever since I've played it more recently. I've found it so enjoyable. I felt very overpowered. I think it's good as of right now in June of 2023. That is what I'm saying. Is Burglar good? I think Burglar is good in the fact of it's kind of a little bit more of a gamble for a class. Like, it's medium armored. It's definitely a more strategic and tactical class. And for that reason, I think it's good, because I actually generally like doing stuff like that that's more tactical. I have to think like pretty thoroughly before I make any moves. I can't just run in and just start grabbing every mob and hoping to live. I mean, you can try, but with Burglars, it's a little uncertain if you're going to survive that outcome. But it's a good class in the fact of it's definitely got some really good support tactics for group content. Is Hunter fun? I mean, Hunter's fun. I just feel like they're a little too good with their range skills, that it kind of makes it feel a little boring, because they're just annihilating things before they can even get one little hit. It's crazy. Definitely fun, just a little too overpowered for my liking, so I can see why maybe they were looked at as boring, but they're definitely one of the top classes. And last but not least, is Captain fun? So in my opinion, I don't find Captains fun, and it's mostly just because they're very much like a group support, offhand tank sort of oriented class, and for someone who solos, I mean, some of their skills just aren't really even beneficial for me too much. They're survivable. It is kind of fun, some of their like shouts and stuff. I love their little shouts when they're like, ah, hi, you know, just like aggroing everything. It's hilarious. But you know, I just don't find them that fun. Could just be captain's not my forte. But let me know down in the comments what you guys think. Thank you all for watching. I appreciate you for staying till the end of this video, and until next time, stay weird, weirdos.